Hello everyone, it's me Arun once again. Welcome you all back to our English online class. So I hope that you remember our chapter Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, written by the famous English writer Robert Frost. So before entering to the chapter, I really wish to tell you a story, a small beautiful story which I have read in the last week, and I really feel like sharing the story with you also. Okay, so once there was two friends. Okay, one is Deepak and the other one is Sharath. Okay, Deepak and Sharath. You can think of your name and your best friend name in your mind. Okay, just close your eyes when you listen to the story and watch yourself as the characters. Okay, so Deepak and Sharath. One day they were best friends, close friends, and one day they were walking through the seashore. Sea, you know, so side of the sea, through the seashore, through the sand, they were walking. And they were talking about a lot of things. And by the way, they started quarreling each other. Okay, quarreling, as you know, by saying that, no, what you said is wrong. And he's also scolding back. So suddenly Deepak slapped on the face of Sharath. He slapped, you know, beat on the face of Sharath. And it was really hurting for Sharath. So he didn't tell anything, but he wrote on the sand, down on the land, on the sand, he wrote that my best friend hurt me. My best friend did hurt me. He just wrote on the sand and he didn't tell anything. And they again continued their journey. So they forgot all the things about the quarrel and they became close friends and they continued walking. And it was evening and they started playing with the waves. Waves means that sea waves. They started playing. While they were playing, again our Sharath slipped his leg and he was about to sink into the water, because a huge waves are coming and they were trying to take Sharath back to the sea. So it was a dangerous situation and Sharath was calling for help. Deepak, friend, help me. I'm going to die. Suddenly Deepak came there and he escaped. He saved Sharath again back to the side. Okay, so somehow Deepak saved the life of Sharath. So this time also Sharath didn't tell anything and he took a piece of chalk and he wrote on a huge rock that my best friend saved my life. What he wrote? My best friend saved my life. That's it. They again continued walking. So suddenly Deepak asked one question. The question is also there in your mind also. When I slapped you, when I hurt you, you wrote it on the sand. But when I saved you, you wrote it on a rock. Why? Then he replied, the reply is very important. Sharath replied that, when you hurt me, it was really painful when you slapped me. I wrote it on the sand because after a few seconds, the wave will come and it will take it out. Means that what I wrote will be vanished. Isn't it? The seaside, we know that when the waves are coming, the sand will go with it. So what I wrote will be vanished. But when you saved me, I was very happy. It was not paining. I was very happy and I wrote it on the rock because it will be there forever and it will never get vanished. So what it means, you know, it is a great teaching, a great lesson for you and me and for everyone, that when you have some problems in your life, when anybody hurt you, when you feel pain, please don't keep that pain in your heart for a long time. When somebody hurts you, please don't keep it in your brain, a revenge towards the person for a long time. Please don't do that. Live it. Live it as soon as possible. But at the same time, when a person is doing something good for you, keep it in your mind forever. Be thankful to that person forever. It is a good quality of a nice personality. So please keep it in your mind. Okay. Now let's go back to our chapter, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, written by Robert Frost. I hope that you remember well who is the main character of the story. Who it was? It was Robert Frost, the writer itself. And do you remember, we discussed only first stanza, means first 4 lines. In those 4 lines, we saw Robert Frost was traveling through a forest. Do you remember the word woods? Woods means small forest. So Robert Frost was traveling through a small forest on his, who was the companion? The companion was his beloved horse, his favorite horse. So he was traveling on his horse through a small forest on a snowy evening. Snow, covered with snow. Everywhere it is covered with snow. So such an evening he was traveling, and in the evening he stopped in the forest suddenly. What is the reason? By seeing the beauty of the forest which is filled with white snow. By enjoying the beauty of the forest, he stood there for some time. And he said, I know who is the owner of this forest. He is living far away in a village. So he will not know that I am standing here. So let me stand here and watch the beauty of this forest. That is what we discussed in the last class. Now let me move to the second stanza. I will read the stanza. Just listen carefully. Keep the tip of your finger on the lines and follow me. Ready? So, dear all, we have completed the first stanza, and now today we are moving to the second stanza. So listen carefully. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. Once again, my little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. Well, so in the first stanza we saw that he was traveling by a horse. So he stopped the horse and he came down. You can see in the picture from page number 10, he is walking with the horse. So when the horse stopped there, the horse is also having a brain, isn't it? So what the horse did, first line, my little horse means my beloved horse, must think it queer. Queer means what? Strange. Something wrong. Because horse is thinking, this is not the place we usually stand. This is not the place we usually stay. So my little host must think it queer, means he also my horse think something strange. Why this man is standing here? Such a question, such a doubt. Second line, to stop without a farmhouse near. A farmhouse means a field with some fruits, plants and lot of things. So if there is a farmhouse is a place where the farmer lives. So if there is a farmhouse, we can stop. But without a farmhouse, why this man stopped here? Who thought? The horse thought. Third line, between the woods and frozen lake. Where they are standing, between, in the middle of the woods. Woods, I told you, forest and frozen lake. What is frozen? Frozen means if it is a December time, a Christmas time, or if it is a rainy season, early in the morning, almost 5:30 or 5 o'clock, if you're getting up and you're coming out of your house, what you will feel if there is a cool breeze, you feel like that frozen means you are shivering with the cold. So frozen lake means almost like a river where the water flows. So we are standing, the horse is thinking, the man and me, we are standing in the middle of the forest and in the middle of the woods, in the frozen lake, in the middle of the cold rivers. Why we are standing here? The last line, the darkest evening of the year. This is the darkest evening of the year. Because in this year, this evening is the darkest. Darkest means actually there is no light, it is evening. And one more thing, that much cold it is, and nobody forest. Already in the forest it is dark. So in this darkest evening, why this man is standing here? So the second stanza says, my little horse, means the horse of Robert Frost, is thinking with a strange thought. Strange thought is that why me and this person is standing here in this middle of the forest without a farmhouse, and what happened to him to stand here in the middle of the woods and frozen rivers and in this darkest evening. So that is what who is thinking. The horse is also thinking. Clear? Can we move to the next stanza? Yes. So dear children, we are moving to the third stanza. See, I have already told you our horse is having a doubt, a strange doubt that why we are standing here. So if it is a person, the person can open his mouth and ask, my dear friend, why we are standing here? But unfortunately, a horse cannot talk anything. So he made some simples. Let's see. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. Once again, he gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. Listen carefully. He gives his harness. Harness, let me show you a picture. Can you see some strap on this horse? So this is called harness. Can you see some straps? The person who is sitting above the horse can hold the horse by holding on this straps. Okay, clear? He gives his harness bells a shake. So I have already told you, horse cannot speak like human being. So he showed a symbol. What is the symbol? He gives his harness, that straps, bells, a shake. Means he moves his head. And the bells which was hanging on the straps made sounds. Okay, you might have seen in films and all, horse have such a movement with its head, and the straps bells started to make sounds. Second line, to ask. The horse wishes to ask if there is some mistake. Actually, by making a sound, the horse is asking to Robert Frost, any mistake, any problem? Is there any problem? Why we are standing here? Who asked? The horse. How? By making a sound. Third line, the only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. So when we heard the sound of the bells from the strap, and one more other sound was there. Only one more sound was there. What it was, the only other sound is the sweep. This way of movement is called the sweep. What? Sweep of easy wind. Wind we know. So sweep of easy wind means the sound how the wind is blowing slowly, softly, and downy flake. Downy flake, you can see the meaning down. A soft snowflake. Means, see, take your textbook page number 11. You can see a picture. Just look at the picture. So you can see the snow everywhere. So the snow falling sound is also there. At the same time, the sound of a soft wind. Clear? So the third stanza said that when the horse felt a strange feeling, it made some sounds by moving his head, moving his straps, and he asked a question, is there any problem? And only two sounds are there, the sound of a soft breeze, a soft wind, and the sound of a downy flake, means the sound of snow. Clear? So let me move to the last and final stanza, the very important stanza. Ready? Let's move to the last stanza. Listen carefully. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Once again, the woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. So my dear children, please underline the last two lines, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep, because these are very, very important sentences in English language. So please underline these two lines. Now let's see what is there in the last stanza. Actually, I told you why Robert Frost is standing there, because he loved the beauty of the forest. So, and in the last stanza, he says, the woods are lovely, dark and deep. The woods are lovely. Lovely means beautiful. I love it. And dark and deep. Dark, deep. What is dark and deep? Because everywhere silence. And little bit dark too, no much light. So the woods are dark and deep, at the same time lovely, lovable, but I have promises to keep. But so actually he felt like staying here for a long time, till morning maybe, because that much beautiful. But this but is a huge but I cannot stand here for a long time. Why? But I have promises to keep. I have many promises to keep. I have promised many things to anyone, and I want to complete all the promises. What would be the promises? Maybe he would have a wife. He may promise to his wife that I will come early today and I will buy these and that for you. He might have children. He also promised to his children a lot of things, that I will buy these and that for you. And maybe he is a good son, so he also may have a lot of promises to his mother. So as a human being, he has a lot of promises. You also have a lot of promises. What are your promises? As a student, you have to promise that I will learn nicely, I will study nicely, I will get nice mark, and I will be a nice, good student. As a son, as a daughter, you have to promise your mother and the father that you will be the best son or a daughter for them, isn't it? So as a citizen, you should promise that I will be a nice citizen to the entire society or the country. So I have number of promises to keep, means to complete, then and miles to go before I sleep. The same line is repeating twice. It means that much important that line is. So what he said, miles to go. Miles means what? A long, a far away distance I want to travel. I have to complete before I sleep. So before resting, before sleeping, I have a long journey. I have to complete a long journey. Means I have to do a lot of works, a lot of activities to complete before taking rest. Anyone remember that I told you in the first class that you may have a lot of dreams. So do you work hard for that? I asked such a question. So if you have to complete a dream, you have to work hard without taking rest. So he also says that I have a lot of promises to keep. It means I have a lot of responsibilities to complete. So I cannot rest. Miles to go before I sleep. It means I have to travel a lot. I have to complete a lot of works, a lot of activities before taking rest. It means he concludes by saying that I cannot stand here for a long time. I want to go. I want to travel into a lot of places. I want to meet a lot of people, and I want to do a lot of activities. So clear? So let me sum up the whole poem once again. In the first stanza, we saw Robert Frost traveling by horse, and he stood in the middle of the forest, and he wondered by seeing the beauty of that woods of the forest. And in the second stanza, he said about his horse who felt strange by standing here without a farmhouse and standing in between the frozen lake and this darkest evening time. Why he is standing? To show the curiosity of the horse, it made a sound from his straps. and he asked that any mistakes, any problems do you have? And there was one more sound, the sound of the soft wind and downy flake, of the sound of the snow also. In the last stanza he said that the woods are lovely, dark and deep, beautiful, I love it, but I cannot stand here for a long time because I have a lot of promises to keep, I have a lot of jobs to complete. So miles to go before I sleep. I want to travel for a long time, I have to complete a long journey before taking rest. See, if you write in a chart paper, in a small chart paper, if you're writing that sentence, and miles to go before I sleep, and paste it on the mirror or in your room, and every morning when you get up, and after studying, if you feel tired, if you felt bored, you just read that sentence, miles to go before I sleep. It will help you to remind, yes, I cannot take rest. I cannot quit because I have to do a lot of works and I will reach my aim. So miles to go before I sleep and miles to go before I sleep. So this is what Robert Frost wished to explain through his poem, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening. Now I would like to give you a small activity also. In page number 11, there are two activities. Choose the correct option. Can you see? The lake is, just look to your book, and there are 1, 2, 3 questions are there. Read the questions and tick the correct option. There are 4 options for you. Tick the correct option. And page number 11 itself, answer the following question. There are 5 questions. Very simple questions. Read the question and write the questions on your notebook and find the answers and write those answers also. Very simple one. You can easily write those answers. And one more interesting activity also I would like to give you, that recite the poem with a nice tone. You can select the tune of the poem and record the voice and send me through Google Classroom or through WhatsApp as you wish. And let me select the best tune, the person who sang the song best. Let me select the person and I will try to give a gift also when you come to the school for the next time. Okay, so that's all for today. Wishing you a nice time. Thank you very much and bye.